Hello and welcome to SIS. So how to connect with addiction services. If you're interested in connecting with addiction services, you can call for services in Elgin County, Oxford County, Middlesex County, and London. We're open Monday to Friday from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. And the phone number is 519-673-3242. If you're looking for information and intake support, you can call extension 222. Current clients can call extension 284. Family members can call extension 221. And for withdrawal support, you can call extension 248 or extension 281 for the RAM clinic. Additional supports. So for mental health and or addiction information, support, and crisis services, you can call 1-866-933-2023, or you can web chat at reachout247.ca. If you need someone to talk to, are feeling stressed or overwhelmed or lonely, you can also call the support line at 519-601-8055. So COVID-19, some tips to protect your health. So COVID-19 is a new illness that can affect your lungs and airways. It's caused by a virus called the coronavirus. Practicing good hygiene is the best way that you can protect against the novel coronavirus and other illnesses in this cold and flu season. So make sure that you're washing your hands with soap and water for at least 20 seconds, or using hand sanitizer if your hands aren't physically dirty. Minimize close contact with other people, so maintain physical distancing. Sit or stand at least 2 meters or 6 feet apart from other people. Stay home if you're sick. So symptoms of COVID-19 include fever, cough, and difficulty breathing. So if you're suffering from any of these symptoms, make sure that you're staying home and keeping a 2-meter distance from others. And if you feel that you need to do a self-assessment, you can do a free self-assessment using the link that's on these slides, or you can call the health network, and the phone number for that is 519-663-5317, and that's the Middlesex Health Unit. So we're going to start off today with a grounding exercise. So the purpose of this exercise is to help calm the mind and body and make them feel more relaxed. It helps to focus the mind to relax and to be open to improve inner awareness, and it supports making positive mental and physical changes. So we'll start by asking that you close your eyes, and I will get into the grounding exercise. So as your body settles and you close your eyes, bring your awareness to your breathing. Notice the breath coming in and going out. Follow the breath with your awareness. Follow the breath all the way in and follow the breath all the way out. Trying not to change it in any way. Breathing in, feel the breath as it passes through your nose. And breathing out, feeling the breath as it passes out your nose. Keeping your awareness lightly and gently on your breath. Breathing mindfully and in the present moment. Breathe in and breathe out. If thoughts come in, as they do, acknowledge those thoughts without judgment and let them go. Let them drift away like clouds floating across the sky, and bring your awareness back to your breath, back to your breathing, and back to the present moment. Breathing in and breathing out. Letting your full awareness be on the breath as it comes in and goes out. Noticing the familiar rhythm of the breath. When you bring your awareness to the breath in this way, you are connecting the mind and the body in the present moment. Slowly come back into the room, aware of your body in the chair, opening your eyes whenever you're ready. Okay, let's get started for today. My name is Hannah, and I'm a counselor in the COPE program here at Addiction Services, and I'm going to be covering the topic coping with cravings. So we'll be discussing a number of strategies today that I hope you'll find helpful when dealing with cravings. I don't have a magic wand to fully get rid of cravings, of course, but these strategies can be very helpful when practiced over time. So I really hope that you're able to take away some of these strategies today. So our agenda for the day. So we're going to discuss the definition of cravings, the causes of cravings, and the effects of cravings. We're going to examine the common cognitive distortions and unhealthy ways of thinking and create means of developing new thought patterns. And then we're going to learn how to reduce and address cravings by using sense-specific grounding techniques similar to what we just practiced. So what is a craving? So cravings are defined as a very strong desire. They do not exist in isolation. Something or someone, an event or a situation all might trigger the thought or the craving to use. Some examples include the time of day. So for example, if it's the end of a long work day, that might be when your trigger to use starts to arise. It could be that you're feeling depressed or bored or lonely. Those are also triggers that can lead to the thoughts of using. So it's really important to self-reflect and be aware of these triggers. So the sequence of events. So how this works is a trigger may come up, which leads to the thought of using. That thought of using then might lead to the craving to use. And that craving to use might then lead to the eventual use of the substance or behavioral addiction. So what does a craving mean? So a craving can mean several things. It is a message that was programmed into the brain a long time ago, so based on our past experiences. So when we're in a certain situation or experiencing certain emotions, these triggers may arise. We can be triggered by a person, by a place, by a thing, or we might be triggered because our self-care plan is slipping and we're not taking care of ourselves the way that we need to be. This could be because we're adjusting to current circumstances. So for example, with what's going on right now with the coronavirus, with COVID-19, or it could just be day-to-day life feeling stressors. So there are two really important factors to consider when it comes to cravings. So the first one being that although cravings may be intense, they are temporary and they will pass. So cravings do not last forever. They are not always there. The second thing is that a craving never kills anyone, but returning to using or drinking could do so. So remembering that the craving in itself is not bad. However, how you respond to that craving could result in consequences. And remembering that when it comes to cravings, you do have choices and you can cope. So though cravings may make you feel very helpless and like you don't have control over your actions, you do have choices and you can cope and you can reach out to support when you're feeling these cravings arise. So remembering that when we're in that moment. So one of the acronyms that we commonly use here at Addiction Services is called HALT. So HALT stands for hungry, angry, lonely, and tired. And these are examples of things that can trigger us to have cravings. So we want to ask ourselves, am I feeling hungry, angry, lonely, or tired? And could that be why I have a craving? This allows you to get in touch with your needs and with your feelings. If you're too hungry, angry, lonely, or tired, these are conditions that leave you vulnerable to the temptations that lead you away from your substance use goals. So learning how to recognize these warning signs can be really helpful in recovery because they can help you to prevent a relapse. So we'll start with the H in HALT, which stands for hunger. So we want to make sure that we're eating a variety of foods throughout the day, 4 to 6 times daily. If possible, having small meals rather than 3 big meals can be helpful for some people. Decreasing caffeine and sugar consumption can be a great way to reduce cravings, and it can also help to stabilize our blood sugar levels, which can regulate our mood. Also, making sure that we're drinking enough water throughout the day is really important too. So carrying around a water bottle can be very helpful because dehydration can also lead to cravings to use. And then utilizing food banks and meal programs. So if food isn't something that's readily accessible for you, accessing food banks and meal programs can be a really great way to ensure that you're getting the nutrition that you need throughout the day. So the A in HALT. So the A in HALT stands for anxiety and anger. So you can ask yourself, do cravings arise when you're feeling angry and anxious? Anger and anxiety can be triggered by what we just talked about, hunger, or by poor diet, nutrition, or low blood sugar levels. So they really go hand in hand. When you're feeling angry or anxious, you can practice deep breathing, you can practice grounding exercises such as the one that we did at the beginning of this video. There are different muscle tensing exercises that you can use to help ground yourself. Have a warm bath, listen to soft music, talk to a supportive friend. Whatever you need to do to take care of yourself is really important when you're feeling angry or anxious in order to curb away from those cravings. And loneliness. So recovery can be a time when you feel really isolated. Your friends may still be going out and using substances, or the people that you surrounded yourself with, and that can be really difficult to watch, and it can make you feel very alone. So it's really important to develop a self-care plan and start participating in activities that are engaging and not help distract you from those cravings to use. So that might be joining a sports team, that might be volunteering, going to AA or NA meetings, it could mean joining a gym. Right now, due to the circumstances, that might be a virtual gym, checking out a book virtually from the library, talking to a supportive friend, somebody who doesn't trigger you to use. These are all great ways that you can sort of reduce those feelings of loneliness. And finally, we have the T in HALT. So the T stands for tired. So the T, low energy and insomnia, can be common early symptoms and can be a hook to return to using. So try to monitor the nights that you don't sleep well. Maybe it was after a meeting, or maybe you've had too much caffeine intake for the day. If you can be aware of these things, you can help to reduce your tiredness by counteracting the habits that you already have. So if you're going to bed really late and you recognize that the nights that you go to bed really late, you wake up in the morning wanting to use, this might be a good time to start to establish a better bedtime routine. So establishing a regular bed and rising routine, decreasing sugar and caffeine intake, listening to your body's cues. So if you feel really exhausted and that you need to have some rest, go take a short power nap if you need to, whatever you need to do to take care of yourself. And finally, distracting yourself. So try to give yourself 15 to 20 minutes to focus on something other than your craving when that craving arises. So for example, that might mean going for a walk or a jog, might be reading a book, taking a bath, gardening, learning a new skill, whatever your hobbies or interests are, finding something that you can divert your attention to so that you're not focused on that craving can be really helpful in distracting yourself from using. And if you're able to say, listen to music to distract yourself for 10 minutes, and then you find that that's not really working for you anymore, try something else. Start a puzzle, cook a meal, whatever you need to do to distract yourself from that craving to use. So we've talked about this a little bit already, but another great strategy is breathing exercises. So there are 2 breathing exercises that we frequently use at Addiction Services. The first one being big big belly breathing. So how this works is you inhale slowly through your nose and you push your stomach out as doing so, as far as possible. This is pretty much reverse breathing. So how we would normally breathe, you would think to inhale and bring your stomach in. So we're actually going to do the opposite of that by inhaling and pushing our stomach out. And then when we exhale, that's when we're going to bring our stomach back inwards towards our backbone. So this helps to expand your lungs and shed impurities, and it also helps to reduce stored tension. Another breathing technique that we often use is called square breathing or box breathing. So what this entails is you imagine a square and you inhale for 4 counts, and then you exhale for another 4 counts, inhale for another 4, and then exhale for another 4. So it might look something like this. Another great grounding technique is to utilize your senses. So bring awareness to your visual stimuli, sound, touch, taste, and smell. So these are very, very important. So this might be describing colors, shapes, or the size of the room that you're in, identifying and focusing on the sounds you can hear, such as a clock ticking, traffic, music, or birds. Focusing on the texture of food that you're eating or clothing that you're wearing. Maybe you're holding a toy that has an interesting texture. Paying attention to the taste in your mouth, whether that's because you're eating something, whether it be gum or coffee or spices. And then your smell, identify and focus on any smells that are near you, flowers, perfume, smell of food. Grasping these senses and being aware of what's around us can really help to ground us and keep us in the present moment while also distracting from our craving. Another really, really important technique is self-talk. Positive self-talk is very, very important in recovery. So you want to try to avoid the pity party or negative thinking. So you can do so by listing 5 things that you're grateful for each day, or trying to focus more on the positive, focusing on things that you can change and not on things that you don't have control over. Positive thoughts often lead to a healthier and happier life without alcohol or substances. So it's really important that you talk to yourself in a positive way. The way that you talk to yourself in your head can really be a reflection of how you treat yourself. So knowing that you're worthy of recovery, that you're worthy of the substance use goals that you have, and just making sure that you have a positive mindset moving forward. Another great technique is laughter. Laughter is extremely therapeutic. So developing a sense of humor, watching a movie, spending time with people that have a good sense of humor who make you laugh can be a really great way to just sort of relax and de-stress a little bit. We have control over approximately 5% of what we worry about, research suggests. So it's really important to just focus on the things in your life that you can change and not on the things that you can't change, and really just try to not take life so seriously all the time and just have a good laugh. Another really good technique is visualization. So when you feel a craving arise, you can try to visualize yourself in another setting. So that might be a peaceful or tranquil setting that makes you feel happy or feel better. You can imagine that you're at the park on a canoe trip, that you're listening to the loons or fishing on a peaceful lake, sitting in front of a cozy fire, whatever it may be, whatever is a happy place for you. If you can take yourself there in your mind, that can really help to distract from the craving that you're having. So I'm going to introduce another acronym right now, and that acronym is STING. So STING is a way that people can help to have a healthy form of daily structure. So the S in STING stands for select a specific task to do. T stands for time frame to complete. I stands for ignore all the other clutter or things to do. N stands for no breaks until the task is completed. And G stands for give self a healthy reward when finished. So it's really important when you are planning your day and planning a routine that when you give yourself tasks to accomplish, that you're really making sure that these tasks are realistic and that you're not going to let yourself down if you're not able to complete these tasks. So for example, if you're modifying your use, being realistic, okay, I don't think I can really cut this substance out fully cold turkey right now, so I'm going to have a goal that I know works for me and I can gradually get to where I want to be. That's a really great way to maintain routine and healthy structure. Making sure that if you have specific goals for the day, so for example, you want to get a big list of chores done, make sure that you're giving yourself a reasonable time frame to complete these things. Don't overwhelm yourself. Don't give yourself 1 hour to do 10 different chores. You want to make sure that your day is structured in a way that's reasonable and realistic. And if there are specific tasks that you know need to be completed right away that are really important, try not to give yourself a break until that task is completed. This can really help to ease some of that anxiety, and make sure that you give yourself a healthy reward when you're finished. So know that when you've completed that or something successfully, you deserve a reward for that. And don't be afraid to reward yourself for meeting your goals. Being selective. So this is also a really important part of recovery. So be selective about the people you spend your time with, about the places you go, the events and situations that you're involved in, and avoid testing yourself too soon. So if you feel like you still have a lot of cravings coming on, and say your substance was alcohol, it might be important for you to try and stay away from places that serve alcohol, or going over to people's houses where you know that alcohol is going to be offered if you don't feel that you are capable of saying no just yet. So try not to test yourself. If you don't feel confident in your ability to say no, try not to put yourself in that situation. If you know that keeping alcohol, drugs, or drug paraphernalia in the home is going to increase your chances of falling into that craving, try to leave the alcohol and drugs elsewhere or get rid of them so that they're not a temptation for you. Avoiding putting yourself in high-risk situations is a really important part of reducing the trigger to use and the eventual craving to use, and then the eventual use. Pre-planning is also a really great way to avoid triggers to use. So if you're planning on attending, say, an event where you know that alcohol is going to be served and you feel that you are capable of saying no, you can always come up with ways in which you're going to do so. So that may be saying to the person who has offered it to you, I'm sorry, I've actually started a new medication, I can't drink anymore. Or I've already had a drink, I'm okay, thank you. Whatever you need to do to get yourself out of that situation. That might mean only attending the situation for a limited period of time. So say you've been invited to a party that you know is going to go well into the evening, and you know that the evening is a time where you feel cravings to use, it might be helpful to plan to only attend that event until a certain time and then leave once you think it could be a trigger for you. For some people, it can be really helpful to carry only a small amount of money. So for example, if you are going to be going to the LCBO and you only want to get 1 bottle of wine and not 2, don't bring your debit card with you. Just bring enough cash to only buy that 1 bottle of wine. And that can really help you maintain your substance use goals. And prepare comments before the event or situation. So if you feel uncomfortable saying no, I've already touched on this a little bit, but if you feel uncomfortable saying no, try to rehearse it with somebody else so that you can get comfortable with saying no. If you need to make up an excuse or a white lie, whatever you need to do to protect yourself is most important in that moment. Journaling. So journaling is a great way to reduce triggers and cravings as well. So writing about your thoughts and your feelings and helping to normalize the experience for yourself. This helps you to identify any patterns or specific behaviors that exist that might trigger you to consume alcohol or other drugs. So for example, when journaling, you might notice that your cravings always seem to arise after spending time with a certain person. And that might be a good cue for you to recognize that maybe that's not somebody you should be hanging out around at this current moment in time during your, while you're trying to reach your substance use goals. This can help you to identify patterns of risky behavior, and it helps to note if blaming or deliberately evoking an argument to justify that behavior. So if you journal and you start to reflect on why you did what you did, or why other people have treated you the way that they have treated you, or so on and so forth, you may start to really understand your current situation and become more self-aware. And the tape recorder. So we often talk about playing the tape all the way through, or playing the tape forward when discussing strategies for coping with cravings. So if you're experiencing a tempting thought about using or having a craving, try to play the tape all the way through from the beginning to the end. So for example, if I have this drink, I'm going to feel great. However, this one drink will likely lead to another drink. And once that drink leads to another drink, and then that drink could lead to another drink, and then I'll wake up in the morning and I'll feel depressed, or I'll feel disappointed in myself, or I'll feel hungover. Really try to bring yourself to those consequences right away. It's human nature for us to think about that immediate sense of satisfaction and to not think about what the consequences of that action are going to be a little bit farther down the road. So remembering that that first cup of alcohol, that might feel really good, but once it's led to 6, 7 cups of alcohol, and then you wake up in the morning feeling awful, that's not how you want to feel. So try not to focus on that immediate satisfaction, and try to think things all the way through. How is this going to impact me in the long term? And a final note, so you cannot maintain the old ways of living or behaving and expect different results. It is not always about trying harder, but being willing to try different. So if you practice some or all of the strategies that we talked about today, I'm very hopeful that you'll be able to see just how much better life can become. Thank you so much for listening, and have a great day.